Hello everybody, it's Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and yesterday I kind of started on a project and I thought maybe some of you might like to see it. I know a lot of us like to recycle stuff, and this is an old planner that I had that I've been trying to find new pages for, and I didn't want to take the chance to order the wrong thing. So I haven't found what I'm looking for in the store, but I live in a very rural community and I don't have a lot of options here. So and I haven't been able to find any kind of information on any of the pages or inside the book or anything. It's from 4 years ago, so it's a little older, but I didn't want to throw it away because it's in good shape. It's it's cute. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't like it. So I thought, what can I do with this to make it so that I can use it, because I just didn't want to get rid of it. So I decided that I would turn it into, actually let me go back, a little ephemera journal. So I made this page yesterday, and I took some of the butterflies that I had previously cut out and slipped in here. Some of my other ephemera journals, these little pockets, pouches, whatever you want to call them, were a little too wide because some of these butterflies are absolutely tiny. Like here's one. I mean, I don't know if you can even see that. It's so small. It's about 1/4 of an inch by 1/2 an inch. So it's very tiny. So I needed some with smaller pockets. So I decided, okay, well, I'll make this, and then I can put some of my smaller ephemera in here. And I'm going to keep these. I don't know that I might, put something different over the edge here so that it doesn't say February and March and all of the months of the year. But I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do that. I mean, it's taken me a year or more to figure out to do this with it. So who knows when that'll happen. But they're nice and thick and they're pretty. And so I kind of want to hang on to them. So yesterday I started taking out all these pages and setting them off to the side. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with them. I might shred them and put them in my compost bin, but some of them have little stickers on them. Yeah, see, when it came with these little stickers, so you could put it on the right day of the week instead of already pre-printed. So I'm not sure I want those stickers in my compost bin. They do peel off of there, but I mean, that's 365 stickers. I don't know that I want to peel them all off. So I don't know yet what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to try to recycle them in some way, shape, or form. But for right now, I'm just setting them off to the side. And so I just pulled all of those out of there. And then I measured it, and my measurements for these sheets are 7 1/4 inches high by 4 1/16 inches wide. And so that's what size I chose to make my new inserts or my new pages. And I used just some cardstock from Michael's. I had a bunch of this because I was going to use it for some wedding invitations, and then the wedding never happened. And it's just the reflections or whatever their cream off-white cardstock is. So I cut them to size, and then I used one of these pages as a template to put my holes in there. So let's see if I can get that. Well, I didn't get that lined up very well, but yeah. And so then I just used a regular handheld 3-hole punch and went through and lined it up and punched each one. Now, once I got the first one done, I set that aside and used this as my template for the rest of them because it's a little thicker. And so I could feel the edge of my punch when I lined it up on there. I could kind of nest it into the hole, so I got them all in the same spot. So that's how I did that. And let's see, we can set this off to the side now. Now that I've got all those pages out of there. And so then what I did was I went and I cut some vellum sheets. Now this is a really thin vellum. It's from American Craft. The one that I've cut up, and this is what I used yesterday. The one that I'm cutting up today is a thicker vellum. It's a lot sturdier, and I think that'll be better. And it is from the Paper Studio, and it was 59 cents a sheet. Now, I'm not sure if the Paper Studio, if that's Hobby Lobby maybe. I'm sorry, I cannot remember. Most of my paper has come from either Hobby Lobby, and actually that's the smallest percentage of my paper, or Michael's, which I get in the packs, or Joann's. And I usually shop at Joann's when they have a holiday special, so you can get 5 sheets of cardstock for $1. And that's the best sale I've found. And so that's when I usually go and stock up. And that doesn't apply to specialty papers. That's just for your generic cardstocks. But so I don't know. I can't remember if which Paper Studio belongs to which store. So there you go. I jumbled that all up, but you know what I mean. So anyway, so I figured out my size, and because the size of my paper was 4 1/16 by 7 1/4 high, I decided that my pockets needed to be 3 1/2 inches wide, because I wanted to allow some space here. I didn't want my pockets going over my holes. So I cut out of 1 sheet of vellum. I cut 2 strips that are 4 inches wide. So they're 4 inches wide by 11. And then that left me with this strip of 1 1/2 by 11. So I'm making all of my strips 3 1/2 inches wide by 3/4 inches high. So because this is 1 1/2 inches, I can cut it in half, and that will give me exactly what I need as far as height-wise for my pockets. I'm sorry, I'm trying to line this up and think and talk, and okay, let's see if hopefully I've got that in the right spot. I'm gonna hold it down tight so it doesn't slip, and run my finger just in front of the blade to help hold it. So, well, I didn't do that right, did I? That was supposed to be 3/4, and I did it at 1/2 inch. So, I'm just going to cut it again at 3/4. That's what I meant to do to begin with. That's what happens when I don't concentrate. Now this is really thin, so who knows if it'll cut properly or not. Now I won't be able to use that for, well, I say I won't be able to use that for anything, but if I'm doing a scrappy strip card, you never know. I'll just set that off to the side for now. We will see later. Now this is a little smaller than I want, but because I do have some tiny ephemera, whether it be sentiment strips like Breathe or As If or whatever, those might fit nicely in here, so I'm going to save that. And now I want to cut them at 4 inches across, so I'm going to try and line this up a little bit better. Kind of pinch it together so it's nice and straight. And now I want to go to 4. Yeah. Easier said than done. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do them separately, because otherwise I'm afraid I'm going to make a mess. And I'm going to, this way I can hold this like right there. And 4. And you know what I think I just realized? I meant to cut these the other way, because now this one is only 3 inches. So I'm not going to get rid of it, because I might be able to use it for something else, but I definitely meant to cut my first strips instead of this way. I meant to cut them that way. So, oh no, I meant to cut these at 3.5. That's what I did wrong. All right, I got 4 on the brain. These should have been at 3.5. So I did mess that up a little bit, but that's okay. Now I won't be able to use that for anything, so that'll go in the trash, but 3.5. So there we go, that's better. I was like, I didn't think I did my math wrong, but it wouldn't be the first time. I used to be really good at math. Not so much anymore. All right, so there's 3.5. There's 3.5. And this one should just cut off a little bit. Yeah, there we go. 3. Tiny little piece. Let's throw that away. I can't do anything with that. So now I've got, these are all the right width. I've got 2 that are a different height. And I do like to keep them separate. It just makes life a little easier for me. This is an extra. Put that in my scrap bin. I don't need my hole punch, so I'm going to slip that out of my way. I don't need the pin. So, I'm going to set these up here out of the way. You know what? No, yeah, let's do that. So I'll just cut a few more of these out, and then I will show you how I glued them down. Okay. So I want 3/4 of an inch. Okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. 3/4 of an inch is not much. Well, first of all, let me get that out of my way. Okay, I might have been, I hope I haven't been off camera this whole time. Let's see here. So 3/4 is there. It's hard to get it straight. This would almost be easier to use my Cricut, probably, but all right, 3/4. And I'm just getting those edges lined up properly. And these don't have to be exact, you know, just close. Needs to go this way a little bit. I think I see kind of crooked, I think, so who knows. All right. Cut a couple more. Again, I'm just trying to realign my edges. And go to 3/4. I have a die that will cut strips, but I didn't even bother to look to see what size those are. All right, well, let's do one more. That way I have enough to at least glue a whole page. So 3/4. That looks pretty good. Yep. All right, I'll just set that off to the side and finish that later. Now, you don't have to use vellum. You can use a pattern paper. You can use pattern paper even for these. I just chose plain because I didn't want want a lot of busy in the background. I wanted to be able to see what I actually had in my pockets. So that's why I went with the plain color. But you could use any kind of paper you want. I probably wouldn't use an embossed paper because that would make it harder to get your stuff in and out, plus take up more room in your binder, but anything else is fair game. Um, and of course, the thicker you use it, the more space it's going to take up in your book or binder, whatever it is you're using. So I just kind of do a temporary lay down, and I probably shouldn't be doing this just yet. I probably should have punched my thumb holes first, but just to get an idea of how many I can get on here. And that's, again, personal preference. It kind of depends on the size of your ephemera, what you're going to be putting in here, how much space it actually needs, that kind of thing. See, I think I could get another one in here. I can go up a little bit more with that. And you could measure if you want. I'm just not that particular about it because this is just for me. If I were making it for somebody else, I would be a lot more concise and make sure that everything lined up. You know, the same from page to page so that it was nice and consistent. But this one's just for me, so I'm not going to do that. The other thing I thought about doing was actually adding an extra strip along those three sides to make pockets out of them to give me a little bit more room. But I'm glad I didn't because I'm not putting anything too thick in there. And if you give it, that'll make it looser. So if you're using big ephemera or something, or thick ephemera or a lot of ephemera, you might want to add the strips for the pocket. But I've just got, you know, thin little pieces of cutouts, and I want them to be in there nice and snug so they're not always falling out. So I'm just going to glue these down the way they are without adding the little pocket tabs. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. So what I might do is get my first one back out just to kind of see if they're roughly in the same place. And again, it does not have to be exact. And no, so they're not going to be because I only put 4 on the back of this because I ran out of vellum strips and I was wanting to get it done to see how it would look. So, but yeah, I think I can easily do 5 on here. And I like the way that looks, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get a pencil just so I kind of get them back in the same spot. Well, I guess I don't really need to measure the bottom one because I know it goes in the bottom. So do this one here, this one here. Okay, so now I'm going to take and I'm going to punch my holes, or my thumb hole. And you don't have to do that either. That's, again, a personal choice. It does make it a little bit easier to pull some stuff in and out, but not always. So once I get these pretty much lined up, I just tapping them down and kind of pushing my fingers on the edges out here, which I know you can't really see. Maybe you can see that better, just to kind of get them all lined up the same. And then I'm going to hold it like that and put this through and look through the bottom and just kind of try to eyeball the center. And I think that looks pretty good. Except it slipped on me and it doesn't want to cut through all the way. Wow, that is a thicker vellum. Okay. Well, hopefully I didn't mess those all up. Let's just try 2 at a time and see if we can get through 2. Now trying to realign it's the trick. Wow, that does not want to cut. That's disappointing. Gosh, I wonder if it'll just cut one. This will take a lot longer like this, but it is easier to line it up. Yeah, it doesn't want to cut that either. And this one is a smaller hole punch, so that's not going to work either. Well, maybe it will. Okay, it's not good because I've got some rough edges, but it's good enough for me. So I'll do those, clean those up and not use that one again. Just put that underneath there. It worked, yes, it worked fine yesterday, but it was a thinner vellum, so maybe that was why. Let's see here. It's not so easy to line up. I'm all thumbs. Wow, butchered that, but that's okay. Like I said, it's just for me. If this was for somebody else, that would be a different story. Now you might wonder why I'm flipping it over to cut. It's because if I don't, they just go everywhere, and then I'm constantly cleaning stuff. All right. This one. Okay, so then to glue these down, see, there's one over there. This is Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, and this is my new favorite because it doesn't show up under vellum for one, and it doesn't make your paper bubble up. It doesn't have a lot of water in it, I guess. It just doesn't make your paper or vellum or whatever you're using, you know how it can get wet and then it gets warped. It doesn't do that, so I really like it. Plus it comes with precision tip, and then there's another larger tip too, but I like the precision tip, especially for doing stuff like this, and I like to work with a lot of intricate die cuts, so it makes it easier to get the glue just exactly where you want the glue instead of all over everything else. So this is something that everybody's been talking about, this glue, and I finally just got mine. So anyway, 3 sides. You want to leave the top open. And then I just try to line this up in the corner without moving it around too much because I don't want that glue going where I don't want it. And then I just take a paper towel and I just kind of push the glue out so it's not taking up room, you know, so it's not making my pocket any smaller by squishing in, if that makes any sense. So there's one. And then we'll do this one. And you just glue them down. So it's pretty simple, other than the hole punch thing. I don't know why, other than it's a different vellum, and vellum's, I'm not exactly sure what it's made of, but I've heard people say it's kind of plasticky, which this definitely is more so than what I was using yesterday. All right, again, so I'm going to line it up with that was my top line, not my bottom line. So I'm going to just try to line it up on my edge here, get it nice and straight, push my glue out. And you don't need to use paper towel. I just like to pick up any extra glue rather than just let it get all over stuff. And then you can erase your pencil mark and it should come right off there as long as you didn't press too hard. Yeah, can't really see it. So then you're just going to keep gluing them all down. Okay, it looked straight on this edge, but it's definitely definitely not straight. What you're going to do, sometimes I have trouble seeing the edge of the vellum because it's so translucent. Is that the right word? That's a pretty big glob of glue right there. All right, so again, I'm just coming over here and lining it up on my edge as best I can, trying to keep it roughly in line with my pencil mark. And then I just push the glue out. But can you see how you can't really see the glue underneath there? Now, if this was any other kind of glue that I've ever used, you'd be able to see where that glue was. And I mean, it'd be really obvious. And it would probably, you know, warp your stuff here a little bit, but this didn't. And that's why I really like it. Plus, it dries pretty quick, but it does give you enough time to make, you know, a few small adjustments to it if you need to. Rip that off of there. So let's just do another one here. Got that a little bit further away from the edge than I wanted, but that's okay. So I am just using up mostly stuff that I've had for a while. I've been collecting craft supplies for decades. My family were all crafters. My mother, grandmother, great-grandmother. My dad was a carpenter, so it's just kind of in my DNA, I guess, but I really enjoy it. And up until recently, when my husband retired, well, we both are retired now, but up until recently, I really just was a collector of crafts. And now I'm determined to use them instead of just hoarding them. So we retired to where we're closer to home. And we bought a much smaller, well, it's not much smaller, but it is a smaller house. And I don't have nearly the space for all my craft stuff that I did at the other house. So I've still got stuff in boxes that I can't even unpack because I don't have any place to put it. So my goal is to use stuff up and quit buying stuff. And because I only have one store local to me, which is Hobby Lobby, which is my least favorite, it's a little easier because they don't have the same kind of prices that Michael's and Joann's have, or the same kind of sales, or the same kind of coupons. Joann's is my favorite because of the coupons, but I'm okay with Michael's too, even though they don't offer what they used to offer. So I'm just going through, and I should have erased it off of there. Oh good, I got it on the right side instead of gluing it down, so I get that off of there. There we go. Except for my eraser, which could have done a little bit better job right there. So now there's my pockets. Now I should go ahead and glue the back side, but since you've seen how to do that, I'm not going to. I'm going to get out some of my little butterflies here. If I can get the little container open. There we go. And I generally kind of just because it's easier for me, I kind of sort them out by type, so I can kind of spread them out a little bit. So then I'm just going to put them in my pockets. And I probably should have let this pocket dry a little bit more because I'd be kind of upset if I glued my butterflies into it. But then you can see you just set them in there. Or, you know, I set them down just so they'd be a little bit more stable, but you can stand them up if that's easier for you to grab. Or you can adjust the size of your pockets depending on what you're putting in there. If you're somebody who really plans out your stuff, then you'll know what size pocket you need. I'm just kind of a seat of my pants kind of girl. So I'm going to turn that one a little bit just because it's taller. So that's all you do. And then you, of course, you go to the back side. Now, like I said, if it's important to you that everything line up when they're on opposite sides, you can use this and a ruler to go across and measure and make sure they line up. If you don't care, or if you're going to use different size pockets, which I would actually probably advise you to do, because not everything's going to be the same size, you know. So you're going to want different pockets, but that's where planning comes into play. So, you know, if you're a planner, you know, if you need that level of perfection, which I no longer strive for because it's maddening, but if you do need that level of perfection, then by all means, just plan your pockets out better. But if you don't, or you kind of just have a really good idea of what you have, then you can probably use this shotgun method where you just, you know, hope something sticks. So anyway, that's my ephemera book, or one of them. And recycling my old planner. So, well, it's a little poofy, so it doesn't want to close very well, but just recycling an old planner, which has some pockets here. So I got this pocket, was just laying around. It was a test pocket I made from somebody else's digital kit. And if I can remember where I found it, I'll link it below in the video below, but don't hold me to that because I'm not really good at tracking that kind of stuff. But anyway, there's 3 pockets here, so I could add stuff there. There's a pocket here. Oh, there just feels like there's something in there. I didn't look in there yesterday, and now I can't get my fingers in there. Let me see. Oh, okay. I got you. They're tabs, which would probably go over my dates, but I can make something prettier than that. So anyway, is that all of them? As I struggle to get down in there. Okay. So anyway, there's those 4 pockets there, and then there's no pocket on the back. But I'm sure there's pockets you could make, or little zipper pouches that you could probably get that would fit in here with these rings. So anyway, that is my project, down and dirty. I hope you like it. Like I said, you can decorate your pages, or you can use a decorative paper for instead of the vellum. I like the vellum because I can see through it. And I don't want something real busy on the background because I want to be able to see what I've got pretty quickly and easily. But again, that is personal preference, so you do you, and we'll see you next time. I'm going to finish up my pockets here. So thank you all very much. Happy crafting.